How fast can you beat Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire with only the cover art Pokemon? So we arrive in Gen 3 with this series of just for fun speedruns. My personal favorite generation that introduced so many good features that I honestly could probably fill a video with it. Either way, as with any challenge run, let's go over the rules real quick. I can only use Groudon for Ruby and Kyogre for Sapphire in battle. I can catch other Pokemon for HM use, but those can never be used in battle. No items in battle except for held items and balls for catching. Items outside of battle are allowed, and no glitches or exploits, not that I would know of any for these games anyway. Like with all of my challenges, I write the script as I play through the games, so this has been written before I start. Go ahead and comment down below which version you think will be faster, and while you're down there, hit the like button and subscribe to never miss an upload. Let's go! I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to switch out Torchic for Groudon on Ruby and Mudkip for Kyogre on Sapphire. This way our rival will still have a type advantage on both versions. As this is the first game I cover with this particular series that lets you choose the gender of your character, I decide to go with the male character in Ruby and the female character in Sapphire, just to have a bit of variety between the versions. I still name both of them Deadman though out of habit. So we arrive in Littleroot, set our clock, commit breach of domestic peace on our neighbors, and go out of town just in time to see the professor get mauled to death by a wild animal. We choose our box art legendaries and off we are towards speedrunning to the championship. So in Ruby, we name Groudon Pangea after the supercontinent and two-shot Mace Mudkip with Mudshot, only taking 2 HP of damage from tackle. Then we get going, only catching a Zigzagoon for HMs and a Swallow for Fly later on the way to our first gym. Oh, and we also help some kid catch a Ralts. So, Roxanne fight. We can only spam Mud Slap since we only have that attack right now, so I won't repeat that move name over and over, but we take her Geodude to yellow, she potions, we get her back down, she potions again, and get her back down, and kill her with the next attack. Nosepass comes out and gets 3-shot while only using Harden. In Sapphire, we name Kyogre Panthalassa, with only one S for character limitation reasons, Panthalassa being the ocean that surrounded the supercontinent Pangea. And we one-shot Brandon Strico with a crit Water Pulse. We also catch a Zigzagoon for HMs and help Wally catch his Ralts and go off to the first gym. Obviously we one-shot Sweep with Water Pulse, this isn't really much of a surprise. In Ruby we meanwhile beat up a Magma Grunt and get abused as a delivery service, cause that's just tradition in the Pokemon world. We ignore May on the city entrance and take Mr. Briny's ship to Dewford to the next gym. So after delivering the letter to Steven, Brawly leads with Machop, who we wiggle down with Mudshot, since the only other moves we have are Rock type, and he potions after a while. We then two-shot because of a crit, Makuhita is out and Sand attacks once, but after one miss we two-shot anyway, so that's badge 2. This is about as smooth as I thought this would be. Sapphire, in the meantime, takes out an Aqua Grand instead, before also getting abused as delivery service and dropping by Dewford, delivering the ladder and fighting Brawly. His Machop takes 4 water pulses cause he keeps potioning, and Makuhita takes 2, really not hard. In Ruby, we go on to Slateport, beat up some Magma Morons, and get Groudon on the same level as Mace Starda will be in the next rival fight since she literally has all the type advantage over us. She leads with Shroomish, I Ancient Power, she Stun Spores, I heal with a Health Berry, cause that's allowed, and kill with an Ancient Power. Marshtomp is next, and I go for Ancient Power once more for boost chance, but then switch to Mudshot while getting Mudshot by the Marshtomp in return. She loses the Mudshot duel though. Last is Normal, who feigns to a single Mudshot, that's that. Sapphire catches up, arriving in Slateport as well, we beat up some Aqua assholes and then try for Brandon. Seeing as his team only has one super effective mon that only knows Absorb as a stab move. So Normal is a one-shot, Grovyle gets confused by Water Pulse and hits itself twice, making this an easy win, and Wailmer only takes 2 Water Pulses and that's that. Up next, Mauville Gym. Oh, hold on a second. Now we do the gym. So I guess we can just say Ruby has a Mudshot Sweep Fest, and that's that. Literally easiest fight so far. Sapphire doesn't have much problems, as Magnemite is a Water Pulse one-shot, Voltorb sparks once but also gets one-shot, and Magneton Thunder Waves after living in yellow but goes for Sonic Boom instead of an electric move, so we kill with Water Pulse. That was really easy. Ruby continues onwards, catching a Spinder for strength use, and after doing a round back to Rustboro, we take the cable car up the volcano and beat up Team Magma again. Before flattering Flannery with some mud shots, living a sun-boosted overheat on only 2, and getting the goggles for the desert from May. While in the desert, we took the root fossil. I knew that if I didn't tell you what I took, you'd all ask. Now that I think about it, everyone asks anyway, comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. I don't think I'll ever get sick of yoinking that running gag from MDB, it's just too good. Sapphire catches a Mob Chop for Strength later, and also a Wingull for Fly, which I totally forgot to record. And after going back around, we go on top of the volcano with the cable car and beat up Team Aqua again before extinguishing Flannery's flame in a one-shot sweep fest and getting the goggles for the desert from our rivals. On the way through there, I did pick up a fossil, but I doubt anyone would care which one. Besides, you can always ask in the comments if you actually want to know. Petalburg Gym is next in Ruby, and we try Ancient Power, see it doesn't do enough, and bulk up 3 times against his first slacking. Then we take him out with some more Ancient Power, while getting yawned and going to sleep right as Vigoroth comes out. Vigoroth doesn't do much, and we wake up 3 turns later, taking him down with the remaining Ancient Powers, a Shockwave, and a Mud Shot after he healed. The second slacking only gets us to red on the very last move, but other than that gets annihilated by mud shots. That's it. We get Surf and continue. Sapphire also comes back to Paddleburg, 2 shots the first slacking with Water Pulse, taking a Facade in between. The Vigoroth gets confused, living on a sliver and knocks itself out, and the last slacking is a carbon copy of the first one, so we win, and get Surf on Pantalessa afterwards, which is a great upgrade. We get through the Weather Institute in Ruby with Pangea learning Earthquake along the way, and go for the rival fight afterwards. May leads with a Shroomish, poisons us, and goes down to 2 Ancient Powers. Numel gets Earthquake one-shot, and Marshtomp also gets Earthquake one-shot. So much for that, onwards to the tree houses. We make quick work of the Weather Institute in Sapphire, and take the Mystic Water off the gift cast form for use on Kyogre. Surf should really one-shot most mons now between Stab, Mystic Water, and Rain, boosting the damage. Anyway, rival fight time, and surely Numel is a one-shot, obviously. Rovile gets a low roll and lives on literally 1 HP, hitting Leaf Blade for half our health. I opt to overkill with another Surf in case he healed. And lastly, Wailmer is a Surf one-shot as well. Onwards to the next town. So after getting the gadget to make Kecleon visible, we get into the next gym and fight Winona. She leads with Swallow, who goes down to a single Ancient Power. Pelipper is next and gets Shockwave one-shot after wasting a turn with Protect. Skarmory Sand attacks once, but is a 2-shot with Shockwave. And last is Altaria, who Dragon Breaths while we miss 2 of our Ancient Powers, and then Dragon Dances before going down to the second one that hits. That's that, badge secured. In Sapphire, this gym is a joke, as Swallow is a Surf one-shot, Pelipper protects 1 turn and gets Shockwave to death the next. Skarmory is a Surf one-shot again, and Altaria is a one-shot with Ice Beam, which we just learned in the Weather Institute. Let's keep going. So we go on to the next city in Ruby to fight May again. She leads with Swallow, who's an Ancient Power up one-shot. Shroomish is next and still takes 2 attacks, this time Earthquakes, while it Leech Seeds us. Then Numel is a one-shot with Earthquake, and Marshtomp also is an Earthquake one-shot. Last rival fight done basically. Sapphire literally one-shot sweeps Brandon with Surf, Ice Beam, Surf, and Shockwave, and then goes to buy Thunder, cause we set up Rain by default, and Thunder never misses in Rain. We might be a bit OP. On Ruby, we get Fire Blast for Groudon in the department store, and also pick up Thunder in case I want to replace Shockwave later. Then we do the Magma Hideout. After meeting the Team Magma Moron on top of the mountain with the graveyard, and flying back to Slateport real quick, that is. Either way, we beat up more Magma Morons in the hideout and go on to Moss Deep to face Tate and Liza. Now, this is a double battle, and they won't fight you unless you have 2 mons to use. So, we fly back to Dewford, get an Old Rod, and Master Ball, the only Pokemon really worthy of the Master Ball, a Magikarp. So obviously both Lunatone and Solrock have Levitate, so we can't Earthquake. Fire Blast is resisted, and they have incredibly good moves in Flamethrower and Psychic. Also, I have been fucking only using my Groudon since the beginning of this game, and they are still on the same fucking level as I am. This is legit the only gym in all of Pokemon history that I need to grind for in a challenge like this. I really don't see a way of beating this 1 against 2 at the same level, unless we have something that can one-shot them. Seeing as none of the TMs Groudon can learn will help with that, we grind for a bit and then come back and try again later. So let's try again at level 49. After taking out every available trainer around the water and doing a little bit of grinding in the wild Pokemon. Between them potioning, always hitting Hypnosis, and me not critting at the right time, this is still not happening. So I used the 3 rare candies I picked up via Zigzagoon's pickup so far, and we do a few more attempts. We can eliminate Lunatone early with a crit Fire Blast and then one-on-one Soul Rock. Nicely enough, between healing with our Health Berry and critting the final Ancient Power, we can finally earn the badge. About time. Sapphire takes out some more Aqua assholes on Graveyard Island, and also picks up the old rod in Dewford before going to the hideout to get the Master Ball to use on the one and only Magikarp to be able to challenge the 7th gym. So this is where Sapphire really pulls ahead in time. We don't grind at all and just jump in. Surf and Lunatone leaves on 1, while Solrock goes down. Psychic takes down the dummy and they heal the next turn, leaving them open to a Surf that one-shots because it doesn't split damage this time. Now I know why I never had a problem beating these two outside of challenge runs. In Ruby, we dive to the Seafloor Cavern to fight the head moron of the magma and wake up Groudon, after which we make our way to Sootopolis and down into the cave to fight Groudon. We obviously already have one and we don't want to run 2 of them, so we just Earthquake our way out and go for the next gym. So next is Wallace and his water-type gym, even if the puzzle would suggest otherwise. Of course, I'd do the ice puzzle on my first try, cause I've played Ruby so much when I was a kid that I still know the patterns, and it would also waste time to fight trainers downstairs. So he leads with a Love Disc, out of all things, which is obviously a Shockwave one-shot. Whiscash is a one-shot with Earthquake, Celio takes 2 Shockwaves but heals once, so he actually takes 3, and hits 1 Aurora Beam. Seaking is a 2-shot with Shockwave, only changing the weather, and Water Pulsing, and last is Melodic. Shockwave does not do half, and it takes us into killing range, even after we had healed with the berry before. I decide it would kill me next turn, so I go for a Hail Mary Earthquake, since it's more damage and stab, which should outweigh the super effectiveness of Shockwave, and it sure does. And that's all badges done. In the meantime, Sapphire woke Kyogre after taking out Team Aqua's head honcho, going to Sootopolis after to Thunder one-shot the imposter Kyogre. Then the final gym is really easy. Love Disc dies to a single Thunder, Whiscash to a single Surf, Celio to a single Thunder, so does Seaking, and last is Melodic, who gets fully parried 1 turn, then Hyper Potion twice, and finally dies to a final Thunder. Onwards through Victory Road, and let's see whether the Elite Four is doable like this. Ruby fights through Victory Road, and at the end, Wally is waiting for a kind of rival fight scenario. He leads with Altaria, who lives an Ancient Power on 1, and paralyzes us with Dragon Breath. Another Ancient Power takes it out. Roselia comes out, Leech Seeds and dies to Fire Blast. Dalcatty's next and assists into Mega Drain before fainting to Earthquake. Magneton comes out and we're out of Fire Blast, so I Ancient Power, thinking Magneton probably has Levitate. I then decide to try for Earthquake anyway, and it turns out it probably has Sturdy instead, seeing as Earthquake hits. Last is Gardevoir and Earthquake one-shots, that's it. Elite 4 time. Before that though, Wally fight in Sapphire. Altaria is a one-shot with Ice Beam, Magneton takes a single Earthquake, Roselia another Ice Beam, Dalcatty Surf, and lastly Gardevoir lives on 1 HP from Surf, gets Super Potion cause apparently Wally's healing is just as wimpy as he is, and faints to Earthquake after that. Let's get the leak done. Sydney is a joke with Mightyena going down to 1 Surf, Cacturne to 1 Ice Beam, Sharpedo to 1 Thunder, Absol to another Surf, and Shiftry to another Ice Beam, after flinching us with Fake Out once. Let's keep going. Phoebe is also a joke, with everyone going down to a single serve except for her last Dusclops, who lives on red, eats a citrus, and goes down to a second serve. This is definitely too easy. You get the deal by now, so let's quickfire through Glacia's team. Glalie Surf, Celio Thunder, Ada Celio also Thunder, Ada Glalie also Surf, and Walrein 2 Thunders, with it using Surf and eating a berry in between. I guess this is gonna be a quite obvious lead here. Drake up next. I don't think I even need to narrate this. I have Ice Beam on a legendary, and he has 4 mons that are quad weak to ice. This is a sweep fest, literally easiest battle in this playthrough, and I am kinda offended by how much better Kyogre is than Groudon from a move pool standpoint. Finally, the champion. Skarmory is a Surf one-shot, so is Aggron. Credilli takes 2 Ice Beams, Ancient Powering in between. Claydol is a Surf one-shot again, Metagross takes 2 Surfs, Earthquaking in between, and lastly, Armaldo is a Surf one-shot, winning us the title in a total of 6 hours and 38 minutes on Sapphire. And with that, we get to the Elite Four in Ruby. First is Dark types, so Mightyena takes a combo of Earthquake and a Shockwave, and Earthquake Miss, and a crit Earthquake. You couldn't have just crit the first one, goddammit, because he healed after the first one. Next is Sharpedo, who is a Shockwave 2-shot. Cacturn is a Fire Blast 1-shot. Absol dies to Earthquake and Ancient Power, and lastly Shiftry dies to Fire Blast. Onwards we go. Next is Ghost types, and I totally ran out of PP halfway through. I should probably hold a Lappa Berry. Why am I not holding a Lappa Berry? And I forgot to save before the second number, so quick redo of the first, and then we almost Earthquake one-shot sweep our way through the second attempt. Cause the Lappa made it easier to not run out of PP. So, off to the third member and her ice types. Holy shit, was that annoying. Most of her mons should be one-shots every time, but ended up living on low rolls way too much. Setting up Hail, using Ice Beam to freeze me, or just blizzarding me off the field. In the end, we one-shot the first Glalie with Fire Blast, both Celios with an Earthquake each. Since the sun is still out, we also one-shot the second Glalie with Fire Blast. And lastly, her Walrein lives 1 Earthquake, blizzards us to yellow, and faints to another Earthquake. About time. So the dragons on the last one are fucking impossible. Since the Flygon have Levitate, I get paralyzed by Dragon Breath every fucking time, and then get fully parried 5 times in a row, or miss Fire Blast, the only move I have that can do any damage to Flygon. I tried learning Toxic to help damage, but that doesn't work either, and on top, the AI is a fucking cheating ass cheater who only goes for Dig if I haven't clicked Earthquake before, since that would probably ignore the ability and do double damage as per usual. So instead, I get Pangea to level 65 and try overpowering instead. It still takes a few retries, but now that we have Solar Beam, we Earthquake the first mon off the field, Ancient Power the Altaria twice, then 2-shot each Flygon with Solar Beams, since they don't need to charge thanks to our ability, and Flygon not using Sandstorm, and then use Ancient Power to finish Salamence. About fucking time. Now the final fight is with Champion Steven, and he went to the Land School of Champions cause he sure loves spamming full restores. But either way, his Skarmory is a Fire Blast one-shot, Aggron with Earthquake, cause quite effective. Cradilli takes a bit longer due to full restore spam, but eventually goes down to Earthquake. Armaldo is a 2-shot with Fire Blast, Claydol takes 2 Solar Beams, and lastly Metagross is a 1-shot with Earthquake. And with that, we beat Ruby in 9 hours and 56 minutes. That means Sapphire was faster by an entire 3 hours and 18 minutes. That's pretty unexpected to me, honestly. But Kyogre is just so much better, apparently. The Ruby run was a frustrating grindfest comparatively. Like, I'd legit rather play Gen 4 than try using only Groudon late game again. Speaking about Gen 4 though, that will be the next installment of the series. Obviously with Diamond and Pearl, the originals, not the remakes. Don't worry, those will come later, but for now, thank you very much for watching, leave a like if you enjoyed, check out the playlist of all my challenge runs in the description down below and the iCard on the top right of your screen, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, my name is WW Dadman, bye.